Welcome back to AFL from LA. Who loses and why? I'm your host, Cindye, and I'm here with Andrew from Ankle Sore. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Cindye.
How was your weekend?
It was okay.
Well, I'm guessing there were some highs and there were some lows for you this past weekend.
I was going to say the highs cancel out the lows and the lows cancel out the highs.
Did they really, though? Did they?
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll talk about which ones made up for the ones that weren't so great. But So round 10 served up its own brand of chaos. It wasn't quite like round 9 where everything was like a nail biter. There were some huge blowouts, right?
Yep.
But there wasn't much movement in the top 8, but the battle to get into 8 is getting fierce. I believe like 9 through 15 are all tied at 16 points.
Yeah.
And then from really 8, 9, and 10 actually are all at 20, but they can all kind of...
Yeah, from week to week they can move.
Yeah, some stuff can happen. So at the lower end of the ladder, so it's kind of an exciting time for footy.
It is.
So for anyone watching and curious about our little contest, right now we are at 58 to 54.
How do you keep picking losers?
Because
and
you only so we both got a lot wrong this week. We had 5 and 4 that we got right, and we picked like the Swans to lose. We both got that wrong. We picked who else did we pick? There were a few doozies that we both got wrong. Yeah, Melbourne was a big one, right? We both picked Melbourne. So but you did not pick I lost the North Melbourne one because I refused to pick them till they won. So now I'm going to have to think harder, right?
Yeah, think very hard.
There was another one that St. Kilda, I think. Oh, yeah. I said the Eagles were going to win and St. Kilda were going to lose. And you said fuck it and reversed it. So fatal flaw, my friend. So,
oh, my God.
Yeah,
I can't wait to get to the St. Kilda game.
Anyway, this week might change everything because I don't know. I have some very loopy opinions on what's going to happen this week.
Good. That's what we want.
I may give you your shot.
Yeah, that's it.
All right, so let's get to it. Round 11, and the first game is Thursday, May 22nd. The Geelong Cats versus the Western Bulldogs. It's the Dogs versus the Cats. I can't wait.
Yeah,
It'd be great if it was raining. Get it? Raining cats and dogs. Yeah, okay.
I get it. I get it.
All righty. So this is going to be at the Cattery. So these teams have actually met twice. They met twice last year, okay? One time at Gather Round, which was a 4-point win, and once in Geelong where the Bulldogs beat the Cats by 47 points. Do you remember that?
I do.
So the Cats, we always talk about the home field or home ground advantage, and the Cats usually, the Cattery is pretty good to them, but actually in the last couple of years, their percentage win is only 67%, which is the same as Port Adelaide. And look what just happened to them, right? You know? So Port Adelaide at home, that is.
Yeah.
So the Bulldogs set a club record, did they not, this past week?
Bailey Dale, 49 possessions, most ever for the Bulldogs.
And I think it was their disposal record.
Oh, probably because they were just having a good time out there. So
oh my God, it was
more than likely.
It was a killing. So are we saying this is real form, or is this more of a reflection of the Dons being no good?
Oh, it's good. That's a good question because Essendon are no good, but the Bulldogs are very good. But I don't think this game was a reflection on either of them, if that makes sense. I don't think Essendon are that bad.
And you don't think the Doggies are that good?
Well, I think they're good, but I don't think they're 15 goals better than Essendon. that
Okay,
makes sense.
fair enough. I mean, sometimes I wonder when I'm watching these games and it just starts to get away from them. I would imagine it's very hard to continue if you're the losing side to just keep up the energy at that point. And sometimes it's
100%.
right.
100 in sports, as you'll know this in any sport, momentum's huge. So once a team's got momentum, it's hard to stop that. And when it gets to a point of it's insurmountable in the game where it's 40, 50 points in the third quarter, it's like,
it just seems like it's going to go off the rails. Like, so
exactly,
it's just
and it usually does.
Right.
It's very odd that it doesn't. So
So all right. Well, I guess we'll see in the coming weeks as these teams continue to play. So I've heard that Cody Waitman is now completely out for the rest of the season.
Yep.
I'm wondering though, if he was to come back, who would they get rid of? Like, who goes out?
Ooh, no one, because my philosophy is don't change a winning team.
Right. We've talked about
unless
that.
unless you're a Bontempelli or someone of that ilk. Cody Waitman, you can just wait it out until there's an injury or form slump or something. So,
all right.
I wouldn't bring him in anyway.
So at least Bevo doesn't have to make that decision until next season, right?
That's true.
So Dangerfield and Bose is out this week, but Tom Stewart might be back. Question mark. It's early. We'll find out soon, right?
Yeah. Yep.
And the betting odds on this game are practically even. So with that, I ask you, who loses and why?
Bloody hell! The first game, and I'm stumped. I've been thinking about this for 2 days, literally.
Yeah, I bet.
And I chop and change because Geelong lose because I think the Bulldogs are just a little bit more settled.
Okay.
Having Dangerfield out is a problem, even Bose to an extent, but I mean, they didn't need them against Port Adelaide, that's obvious, but against good sides, you need your best players playing, and I just think that the Bulldogs are more settled and playing excellent football.
All right. Well, so here's our first challenge. I'm going to say the Doggies lose. Now, I'm not confident about this whatsoever.
Neither am I, by the way.
Yeah, I think it's a coin toss, and I think, again, as we see who's coming in and out after this is already recorded, it could change. But it's a 6-day turnaround with a long bus ride for the Doggies. Geelong gets a sleep at home, right? There is something to be said about that. There is something to be said about that.
Okay.
And I think that the handball game for the Doggies is riskier playing at the Cattery. It's not.
True, because
it's narrower
and
it's
cricket pitch. Yep.
So there's more room for error, and Ollie and Cameron might stretch the Bulldogs' defense. I mean, we're going to make Rory Lobb work for it. So Bulldogs lose.
Okay.
Moving on. All right, game 2, Friday night, Essendon versus Richmond at the MCG. This is one of those, what do you call it? Melbourne epic matches normally, right?
Rivals, traditional
rivalries. Yes. So, all right. So Richmond won the inside 50 count, and they matched North's pressure, but they still lost, right? So where do you think it all unraveled, or do you even think it unraveled? Was it just dumb luck that North got over the line?
Yeah, I thought it was dumb luck in the end.
Okay.
Richmond had every right to win that game, but they just didn't. That's it. That's what North's faced in the last 3 weeks. They've had every right to win 3 games, and they just haven't.
They just couldn't do it.
Exactly.
Right.
And,
okay.
I mean, the 2 bottom sides, almost, these 2, someone had to win, I suppose. So,
yeah. Well,
in this instance, it was North Melbourne.
They could have drawn again. Could you imagine if it was 2 weeks in a row of another draw for North Melbourne?
No, I couldn't imagine because the 2 people I work with.
Oh, my God. That would have been rough going. All right.
Oh, yeah.
All right. So, after a 90-point shellacking from the Bulldogs, what do you think Essendon need to address first to regroup for this game?
I'll use the Damien Hardwick analogy.
Okay.
They need to harden the fuck up.
Oh, I see. It says attitudinal.
attitudinal and toughness at the ball and, not putting your body on the line when you need to, that's not going to cut it.
Okay.
It's just not. This stop-start football doesn't cut it in 2025. They need to get the ball moving and try and score. They have had a problem scoring all year. Ironically, was it the first game of the season or second game of the season? They kicked 100 against Adelaide. They haven't even got close since. So, it's one of those things that, yes, they've had a lot of injuries, but it's the same old culprits.
Right.
So
all right.
Yeah.
So who's losing and why?
Oh, God. Another tough one, honestly. Honestly, it's the blind leading the blind this week. Like, it's just some of the matchups, they're just like, the teams are that bad, someone needs to win, right? And it's like, who do you choose? You choose a lesser of two evils, which is probably, I'll say Richmond lose.
Very good. All right. Well, so what I have here is that Richmond lose, right? But
God.
again, zero confidence in this.
Oh, zero confidence.
Listen, Essendon only beat the Eagles by 2 points and North by 2 points, right?
I know. I'm aware. Don't you worry.
With all of that say, this is going to be a classic fuck it, and I'm going to say Essendon lose. This is your first opportunity to catch up to me.
What do you mean? The game before is an opportunity. Geelong
whatever.
So that's two. There's going to be 1 week where I'm going to just overtake
You're just gonna
you.
kill it.
I can see it. I can see it.
So since this is at the MCG for this game, does it draw an equal number of fans between Essendon and Richmond? I mean, it's a home game for Essendon, isn't it?
Essendon, yeah. And based on last week's performance, and how fickle Essendon supporters are, and I'm not having to go with Essendon supporters because most teams are fickle when they get smashed like that.
Except for your mom. They all show up, right?
We'll get to that.
Okay. So we'll be even, or no? You think?
Yeah, it will be even because Richmond are going okay. Like for what they've got and what they're doing, they're going okay.
Okay.
So being Essendon's home games, members go. So I think it'll be even. Great.
All right. Well, can't wait to see what happens with this one. So the next game. This is going to be the test of our friendship.
Not really.
Can we survive this weekend?
Absolutely.
Saturday, May 24th, Carlton versus GWS at Marvel Stadium. It's a 1:45 in the afternoon game. And
it's actually, believe it or not,
what?
It's a 12:35 game.
Oh, really?
It's an early game.
Oh, I mean,
so they need to clear the decks because it's one of the worst games of the round. So,
well, I guess my research was wrong, but
probably not because they probably said that in the AFL app. Seen that.
The AFL app. Don't get me started on that. Another week of friggin' waiting 20 minutes to be able to watch a game.
My God.
So, people, we're gonna do this one live. Andy and I are going to watch this game together. Well. In different continents, in different houses, and we invite you to join in. So log on to YouTube and see how we go.
I can't believe I agreed to this.
I
honestly.
know, me neither. To be honest with you,
I know. Now that you've said it out loud and put it out there, I've got no choice, right? But
that's right.
Bloody hell.
That's right. You're committed.
So tune in because it's going to be interesting.
It will be very interesting. Oh, yeah, it is noon in Melbourne. Okay, I wrote that right here. All right, so Saturday at noon, Melbourne time, watch party for Carlton versus the Giants with yours truly and your man, Andy. So we hope you guys will tune in and, have some fun with us. So, all right. Fremantle's team defense just choked the Giants' ball movement, okay? They won the ball in the middle. They cashed in while GWS just, sprayed their opportunities. So it was the first win for... Relax. Come on now. It was the first win for the Doctors.
I'm just saying.
That NG Stadium.
I've got it. Yep, it was.
Okay. And fun fact from one of our friends on YouTube that apparently, despite the fact that they never won at NG Stadium, they always win that round for Sir Douglas Nichols round. They've always won it.
Yeah, I
So
didn't
there
know
you
that.
go. Some streaks come and some streaks go, but that one remains the same. So, so it was also the Giants' second lowest score of 2025. All right. So the Giants were flat. They were no energy. They had like a moment where the game started. They looked great, and then that was it. It was pretty brutal from that point forward, right?
It was.
What are you laughing at?
No, because I just go on, continue.
All right.
You
So
make
the
sense. You make all the sense in the world.
Yeah, I do. So the Giants just never got going against Fremantle. So do you put that down to the Dockers beating them at the contest, or just the fact that GWS was flat and was screwing their opportunities in front of goal?
Neither of those two.
Neither. Okay, so please tell me.
I'll put it down to Jesse Hogan not kicking goals, like I told you all along. Kicked 7 against Geelong last week. They won. Didn't fire a shot this week. They lost.
What was the difference between last week and this week? How did Jesse Hogan get the ball?
Yeah, but it gets down there.
I feel like this is the argument we've had every single week, and everyone can back me up. Is so in your worldview of this team, Jesse Hogan essentially needs to come into the midfield. He might just be a rock. He might as well just take the ball from there, run it to the goal.
That'd be tough.
And score a
That'd
goal.
be tough. That would be tough.
Like if there's no delivery of the ball to Jesse Hogan, there is no Jesse Hogan. So if the midfield is complete rubbish, which it was this past week, there is no Jesse Hogan.
Did they have any inside 50s? I believe they would have had a few. So
not many. I mean,
the opportunities were there.
There was nothing.
My point is that, like, honestly, and I say this to everyone, right?
Yeah.
Football, AFL football, is such a simple game sometimes, right? I feel that sometimes the coaches make it harder than what it should be.
Okay.
Now, of course, you've got to play 4 quarters, you've got to tackle and do all the things, but essentially for GWS, if Jesse Hogan doesn't kick goals, they struggle to score. And that's a fact. That's not me just saying, hey, I know everything. But
I won't argue that right now. Yeah.
Okay, go for it. So, again, the week before against Geelong, 7 goals.
Yeah, but the supply was there. But the supply was there. So, so here's what happened.
Maybe the supply's there, but...
So, listen,
it doesn't matter how or why, right? But he didn't kick goals, right?
Yeah.
Is that fair?
Yes, because the supply wasn't there. You can't kick goals without the ball coming to you. So, listen, Briggsy has been ineffective, okay? He might win the top, but he's not getting it to anybody. And then they're too reliant on Tom Green to, bulldoze his way through the center. Your mate Finn Callahan now has a slight, I don't even know how you say that, shoulder dislocation, right?
Poor thing. I like Finn Callahan, though.
Cogs has been out. Kelly has been out, right? They're 2 main senior players. So it's all stemming from this. If they can't get the ball in the midfield, and then, of course, they let Peatling go, which makes me cry.
Oh, is that
Cummings and Perryman, right?
Perryman.
So there was a miscalculation.
So that's a big factor.
Yeah,
that's a big factor there too, because you take those 3 out who were playing most games, and then the 3 that you bring in are young kids that aren't probably Joe Fontes of the world and that, right? That aren't up to it yet. They might be good players in the future, but right now they're not at AFL standard, right?
Yeah, they're missing their senior players. Like at least if Cogs and Kelly were in there, but they're not. So they've been having this issue. It's been going on for weeks. For whatever reason, they rose to the occasion against Geelong, and this past week they just sat it out. So
I've got a question for you.
Sure, ask
What's Toby Green doing these days?
Toby Green is basically having to go into the midfield to try to help out, and it's the same thing. It's like he's not able to do Toby Green things. I think he's frustrated. I think he's having a hard season. So can he turn it around? This game is his 250th game.
Is it really?
Yep.
Okay.
Against your mob. So we'll see what happens. So let's get on with it here. I think it's fair to say that you bleed navy blue, is it not? Well, maybe not lately.
Perhaps.
Maybe now you're more rainbow.
Perhaps.
So I'm curious, like, what's the single biggest adjustment you'd like to see from Carlton this week going into this game?
I'd like, I don't know the doctor's name. He does heart transplants, but I'd like them to transplant a heart inside every Carlton player.
That's what it is. So, okay. So now let's go to the reality land where, like, what can they actually do? I mean, is it cleaner ball use? Is it playing four quarters? You know?
Playing four quarters. Show that they care. Show that you care about playing for Carlton.
Yeah.
Not protecting yourself, like I've been saying for the past few weeks.
Yeah.
Like it's as if they go out and protect themselves, like play for themselves. And I played well, and I kicked 3 goals. And who cares?
Right.
The team lost. It's irrelevant what you did.
Yeah.
It's a combination. Again, I bring up the Collingwood example all the time. They don't care who plays well, but they win.
Yeah, they're certainly winning this season. They're on their way to Finalsville, it looks like. So,
and the other thing I'll say, I'm just going to leave you with this, with Carlton.
Tell me. Yes.
Is that, and a few people have actually brought it up in the comments of my Carlton Club Corner this week.
Yeah.
That they're sick of Michael Voss talking in cliches. He needs to be real. I mean, you look at Craig McRae, right? Mm-hmm. I've never heard a cliche come out because he cares.
Yeah.
And his emotions just come out. Whether it's good or bad, his emotions come out.
So you'd be happier if Vossi was just like, we're no good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, it's atrocious. Like, I'm calling it as I see it. The players need to know it's not good enough. And, not cliches, we're reviewing this and we're getting better at this. I don't give a stuff about that.
Okay.
You've had summer to get ready for that and review and do this and do that and prepare. No, it doesn't cut it. So,
all right.
Enough of the crap, and
So with all that said, your team is not going so well. My second team is not going so well. So who loses and why?
Carlton, because they're trash. I don't trust them. They can get stuffed. No, they can get stuffed.
Really?
They can play this on the moon. I don't care. I don't care. Yep. I've had enough.
All right. Now, here's the real question. Are you being strategic to try to win our game?
Strategic? No. Well, no. I don't trust Carlton as far as I can throw them.
I'm telling you that the Giants are going to lose.
Oh, well, yeah, I didn't know that.
The Giants are going to lose because I'm going back to 2 weeks ago where I'm like, I'm just going to say they lose from now on so they win. Like, I feel like, like I have.
Well, I'm saying the same about Carlton. I'm using your strategy with Carlton.
Oh my! They're totally
they're
like
trash.
North got out of Tips jail last week, and so like GWS, you're going into Tips jail. So again, I did say that it's the 250th game for Toby. Maybe they'll rise to the occasion.
I hope
Cogs
they do.
might be coming back in. I don't think Kelly is, but I think Cogs is. I don't think Callahan's going to be in. So there's some things they can do in the center that I'd like to see them do. To maybe use Cadman a little bit more, or Callum Brown in the center.
He doesn't do enough, does he? Cadman, does he? He doesn't.
It's the same situation. We're not going to rehash the forward line, midfield again. But they can.
Hey, all right, okay. I've got to bring something up.
Yeah.
So your second team, right?
Yeah.
GWS. So you jumped on the bandwagon with GWS.
Yes.
So have you also jumped on the New York Knicks bandwagon?
Oh, no.
Jersey?
Well, yes, no.
Like the rest of the world, jumped on the Knicks?
Here's the thing. I don't really care. I totally don't care, okay? And usually, like, I like an underdog. And the Knicks haven't won a championship in, I don't know, 3 decades or something like that.
Sounds like Carlton, but anyway.
So yeah, so yeah. Right now, I'm going for the Knicks. All right,
fair enough.
So
I wouldn't be mad if the Knicks won.
Yeah, why not? Your team's not playing, right?
Oh, we'll see. my Philadelphia 76ers and the Knicks sort of, because they're close to each other.
Yeah, that's true.
And
Rivalry.
Like it, yeah, it's a bit like that. So
Yeah.
it's a bit like you and I,
Oil and water.
Yeah.
All right. So, all right. Well, we'll see what happens. So, again, reminder this Saturday, Melbourne time, noon.
12 o'clock.
12 o'clock. Join us. And
oh, you won't want to miss it.
see what happens. Oh, my God.
I'm gonna
I might be drunk. I'm not going to lie.
Well, I won't be. I'll just be fueled with Red Bull and red lollies or red candy, like you call them. And I'll be raring to go.
I wish somebody would send me some lollies for this game. Express shipment of some Allens. Yeah.
Well, could do that.
Right, so, moving right along, our next Saturday game is the Hawthorn Hawks against the Brisbane Lions at the MCG, 4:35 in the afternoon. Andrew, the Hawks held up pretty well against the Suns in Darwin, didn't they?
They did. They did
I
very well.
I think...
Considering...
Yeah, well, so, there was a lot of talk about the weather, but let's just put that aside, right? Mm-hmm. How much of that loss was the Hawks spraying shots that they should have nailed, or was it just that the Suns were just hustling and just, beating them out?
The Suns are just, they're tough to beat over there. Like, they haven't lost in Darwin.
No.
Yet.
Yeah, that's
8
true.
in a row.
But this was a close game. This was what, 10 points?
Yeah, and so was the one with the Bulldogs a week before. And, they're all potentially top 4 teams. So
yeah, I would say the weather seems negligible at
I agree.
goal and
I think it's overrated, the weather now. I think sports science has gotten that far that you can emulate it, weeks before here.
Yeah,
and even still, I mean, they've got cold rooms and all that sort of stuff that they can go into.
Wait,
so
I want to go back for a second. How are they emulating the conditions? Like, how are they doing that? Inside? Are they turning the training room into a sauna?
They could, yeah. They can train indoors and, make it extra hot.
Right.
They can also wet the balls because of, the dew over there just to... And also train at night, like some teams do, just to get, the feel of sort of night football with a dewy ball and, get your bearings. So there's ways to do it, but I think it is a little bit overrated. Players are smarter these days. You know the conditions. You're not going to play dry weather football if it's wet up there. Right. Even though it wasn't that bad on Thursday, but, I think you can get past that.
All right, so let's talk about Brisbane's loss to Melbourne. Oh, my God, right? So Melbourne was able to shut down the Lions' fastball movement. Or did they just... was this one of those cases of under-preparing for a team that you thought you would clean up on? Or, what...
Possibly. Yeah. I think... Brisbane, watching that game, Brisbane played like the Harlem Globetrotters. Everything had to be flashy, when... Yeah, there's a time and place for that, but sometimes you just got to do the hard stuff and just the simple stuff. And they didn't do that for some reason, and that hurt them, clearly.
Well, there was
they were in front at 3/4 time, and they lost.
And there was another big issue is that Oscar McInerney was out. And so it kind of, it gave Max, kind of the opportunity to do what Max does, right?
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe that game would have looked a lot different, right?
Different if McInerney was playing, possibly. But look, it's one of those things, what you've got going into the game, so you've got to work with it,
Yeah.
The first thing with Melbourne, nullify Max gone, and you're halfway there. And they didn't, so, as you said.
So, was this a wake-up call for the Lions?
I thought the week before was a wake-up call against North, so I don't know what to say. Yes, no, maybe. It's funny because in our show we said at this time last year, they were worse off Brisbane. Win-loss record. Yeah,
because they started losing. Yeah.
Yeah, right. So, but they started to sort of rise at this point. So, are they in a better position this year, or were they in a better position last year? It's interesting because I don't know. I think they're sort of on the decline a little bit, you know?
Well, it's interesting that you say that because there is something to, like, you know, peaking too soon. And then, like, so they're at the top, you know, basically. And then they have to try to just maintain.
Correct. And that's hard for 20 weeks,
If you're able to keep going up, you know, it's sort of, I think, personally, I think it's a better position to be in. But we will see what happens. So who loses and why?
This makes it even tougher that they both lost last week and they're both potentially top 4 sides. So, geez, a loser, in Brisbane's case, it's going to be 3 in a row or 2.5 in a row if they lose. So... Oh, jeez.
I know it's hard because you're Hawks.
No, well, because I also think of what you're going to do because I've got to catch you, you know. So on 50-50 games, I kind of try and, you know, figure out what you're going to do. Yeah, you're right, my Hawks, so Brisbane lose.
All right, let me tell you why
I said that 'cause I reckon it's the opposite,
your Hawks lose.
Exactly. That's. I think you're right.
So Brisbane, since I think 2022, haven't lost 2 in a row. So they have that going for them. They've also won the last 4 out of 5 at the MCG. So they're not the hoodoo, right? Isn't that what they call it?
No, there's no such thing. No. Yeah. Well, not for Brisbane. No.
It was there for a while.
But not anymore. Yeah, it's gone. Long gone.
So, and I think the midfield is gonna, you know, outdo or overwhelm the Hawks. I just think.
Okay.
I think it's going to be. I mean, it could be fun. God, we really have a competition this week. I better watch myself.
We do.
North of Melbourne versus Collingwood at Marvel Stadium. This is Saturday. Also, is 7:30. This is your night game there. So North edged out Richmond, as we said, by 4 points. It was a scrappy arm wrestle. So. Was the win for the Roos more about composure, or did the Tigers' inexperience just let the North move ahead?
I think the Tigers' inexperience let North win that one because by no means were North composed. I mean, they were 6 goals up against Richmond and then started to panic in the last quarter.
Yeah.
And again, Richmond, inexperienced, they also panicked, but just so happened that North were in front.
Yeah.
So,
how about your mate Zohar? Zurhaar. He was great.
He was fantastic.
He was great. He did that one mark where he's running backwards and, you know, like...
He was fantastic.
Yeah, he really showed up.
So there was an interview with Jai Simpkin after the game.
Okay.
And he said,
I saw that.
He said Zurhaar's foot was like an elephant's foot all week. Yeah, so it was blown up, and the fact that he even played and did what he did is pretty remarkable.
It's pretty impressive.
You know? Yeah.
I know, and poor Jai's, his grandmother died. So North is going to face the Collingwood buzzsaw. Do you think the Roos can rattle the Pies at all, or is this where we're going to really see the difference between a top 4 team and a bottom 4 team?
I think the Roos can rattle them, but I don't think, to a point, they can rattle them. The Roos play Marvel really well.
Yeah.
Seems like they love those indoor conditions.
Okay.
But Collingwood is just Collingwood. They always find a way, Collingwood.
Until they don't.
I'm waiting for that day because it hasn't happened very often.
I know. Well, I recall the year that they actually won the grand final 2 years ago. They did start like having some, falling off, towards this time of the year. So we'll see what happens. All right. So Collingwood scraped by Adelaide by 10 points, as we mentioned, right? Mm-hmm. So... did you see this as part of Collingwood wobbling a little bit, or was it more about more of a comment on the Crows finally, matching their pressure and making them earn it?
Look, Collingwood, they're such a unique team, right?
Yeah.
They just do what's required.
Yeah.
Right? And they don't do more than what's required, if that makes sense. Because they don't have big wins. They just don't, right?
Yeah.
They never smash teams because they don't feel the need to, right? So I feel like they say to the other team, give us your best shot and we'll just one-up you. That's it.
All right.
We'll do what's necessary to win the game.
All right. So, at what point during that game did your confidence start waning watching Collingwood versus the Crows? Because you were pretty confident they were going to pull it off. Like, did you finally give in the fourth quarter, or like when were you like, oh, forget it?
Oh, it's funny because most of the game I'm just like, Adelaide, they were having a good go of it, but they just couldn't. They just couldn't get rid of them. They just couldn't shake them off,
Yeah.
And every time they kick a couple of goals, Collingwood would come back and kick a goal or two, and and it's again they just do what's required, Collingwood, and it kind of shits me, but good on them,
Well, at least they lost to the Pies. Your Crows lost to the Pies, and not
I know. I'll
some
cop
other
that
team.
because they've lost to the eventual grand finalists, not premiers. I'm not sure about that.
Okay,
but grand finalists. They are in the grand final already.
All right,
there's one spot left.
All right. Well, we'll find out. So, who loses and why? Again, this is Collingwood and North.
Oh, North.
All right.
But not as easy as everyone thinks.
All right.
It's not going to be a walk in the park.
Well, I'm with you. I think the Pies' swarm defense smothers the teams that are trying to have. Sorry, I can't even say it.
North won.
Yeah.
They're out of tip jail.
No, they're out of tip jail. But what I was trying to say is that the Pies' swarm defense smothers teams that are struggling to convert inside 50s, which is what one of their problems is. But maybe they surprise us. I don't know. But I think the Pies are going to win. I think North loses this game. All right. Fremantle versus Port Adelaide. I think this game, are you even going to watch this game? Like, do you have any interest in this game?
Zero chance.
Zero chance of you watching it? All right.
And zero interest.
Oh, and you know what? It's on at the exact same time as the Collingwood North game. So there you go.
I won't be watching the Fremantle game then.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so as we said, Fremantle rolled the Giants. They rolled my Giants. Did you see anything in that performance that makes you rethink your low opinion of Freo?
No.
So you just blame it on the Giants.
Yep, I do.
Okay.
All on the Giants.
Okay, you didn't think Brayshaw or Sarong, were playing well, or
they played great, but they always play pretty good, right?
Not always, yeah.
Well, you know what I mean. They're always their best players, like whether they're best on ground or not. But I feel like nothing's changed with Fremantle. They play their game, right? The way they play it, right or wrong, and sometimes they win, sometimes they don't.
Yeah.
But it's not sustainable. It's not good football,
So
that slow, methodical movement doesn't work.
So apparently if there's no Sarong, there's no Fremantle. And they were not tagging Sarong during the Giants game, unless I missed something. Did you notice that? Did you watch that game?
So what was Toby Bedford playing football for?
Well, I don't know.
He's got one job in his life.
It didn't look like he was doing it. I know,
but that's what I mean. Like he's not a good footballer. He's a great tagger. Yeah. Like he's not good at anything else.
Honestly,
you don't tag their best player. That's a problem.
So I vehemently disagree with what you just said, but I also think
of course,
but I also think he almost had his eye taken out a couple of weeks ago. So I wonder if that kind of factored into.
Hang on, his eye taken out.
Well, remember how he got he really had a bad bruised eyes. He couldn't see out of it. So
it got taken out and replaced, did it?
I'm just saying, I wonder if he's... I think they brought him back too soon. That's what just the theory I have.
So he couldn't see?
Well, he might have just been, sore or couldn't see or just gun shy,
Jeez.
So, but he wasn't tagging. So anyway, I digress. So Port just couldn't get their game going against Geelong. I mean... I don't even know what to say about this game. I mean, I think I tipped them to lose, but by no means did I think they were going to get... I mean, what was the score? Do you remember? 140?
It was 5-9-39, Port Adelaide. I think they were 117 or something. Geelong? Yeah,
it was so insane. Their midfield was getting overworked. The ball use was falling apart. I mean... was it the mind? I mean, which is it? Was it just the mindset? I mean, what? How did they unravel so poorly?
I think the Ken Hinkley thing, him not being coached next year, has got to have an effect on the players because like, why would you listen to anything he's got to say? Because he won't be there next year, right? So he's not. You don't have to impress him to keep your position in the team, your place on the list if you're out of the contract. You know what I mean? Like, it's kind of like...
it's, again, all this guessing about what the whys of everything, but it's not great. Like, it seems so pointless the way they did this.
100%. It doesn't help that the incoming coach is the assistant coach there. So I'm listening to him and not Ken Hinkley, if that makes sense, this week, or last week, or... It's very odd. It's an odd situation, and it needs to end now because... There's no point going forward. So, who loses and why? Freo versus Port at Optus. I forgot to mention that. Port lose. Port lose. For many reasons. Yeah. I hope I'm wrong, but... So, is this the chicken nugget bowl for you? Mm-hmm. Yep. I almost wish Port win because it gives me a chance for both. Because Port aren't making finals. We know that. Like that's 100 nuggets safe. So... I'll probably live longer than this year because I don't have to have 200. But Fremantle, I'm not so sure. It's still touch and go with the Nuggets. Yeah, we'll find out soon enough. I mean, all right, I agree with you. The travel and the concussion, because I think Alir's out with the concussion. So that's no good. Oh, my God. And then Horn Francis is out, right? Hamstring, yeah. So there's a few others. Lucky Jones. They're having all kinds of a mess. So they're a mess. I think Freo at Optus, it's a no-brainer. But I've been known to be wrong. We'll find out. Crows versus my West Coast Eagles. The Eagles drought is over. Oh my Finally, goodness. Thank God. Thank God. Oh God. It was really moving to watch them. Couldn't have happened to a better side. Yeah. So we're talking about Sunday, May 25th, and I'm calling it Battle of the Birds at Adelaide Oval. Is it a 110 game? I'm now questioning my notes. Is it 110? It is. It is. Okay, great. It is a 110 game, yeah. So your Crows pushed the Collingwood all night, but they just came up short, right? Yeah. Yep. So what stings the most for you about that loss? Isaac Rankin played terrible. My favourite player in the AFL played terrible. I love him. He's my favourite player to watch. Yeah. And he really played a bad game. If that's as bad as it gets, there's good things coming for Isaac. But that stung a bit because I was getting messages saying, your boy Rankin. I'm like, all right, what can I say, So, it stung a little bit. And Keys didn't have a very good game either, did he? It seemed like he couldn't get his hands on the ball, right? Who's Keys? What do you mean, who's Keys? Keys. My keys are out. Do you want my keys, do you? Handsome, good hair. Kicks goals usually at the right time. That's why I said that, because I knew you were going to say that. I actually thought you were going to say something else, but anyway. Let me ask you a question. Have you ever seen a looser player than Peatling? Like, Peatling to me, mess, like when he plays, he's like, his body is like one of those blow-up dolls that you have, like, in front of, like... Yes. Right? What's a Stretch Armstrong? Stretch? I know what you mean. Arms, he just goes everywhere. Like he's got a mustache. His hair's messy.
Just so
he doesn't tuck in his jumper. He's
when he kicks the ball, it's like everything. He's not.
He can't kick properly. Yeah, I know.
But he's so.
But he wasn't like that at GWS. I don't get it.
No, he was. He was fantastic.
Not that bad. I don't remember him that bad.
No,
like
it's
that
just his. He was incredible, but he's just so fun to watch because he almost looks like there's no way he's going to like have that kind of impact, but he goes at it so hard and I love him. I love the kid. So anyway, who loses and why? Crows versus West Coast Eagles.
You go first on this one. Spit it out. Come on. I want to hear you say it.
I dare you
to say it.
I think my Eagles can pull it off this week.
No. Don't think. Who loses?
The Eagles, I believe that the Eagles are going to lose this week. Once again, I will be absolutely delighted to be wrong. But I don't know. Back-to-back, cross-country trip. Like, it was an emotional win for them.
It was.
There was a lot going on over there. So,
Yeah.
And here's a fun fact for you.
Yeah, tell me.
Plugger Waterman doesn't kick goals away from home.
Oh, no?
He just doesn't. I mean, he kicks a goal.
Yeah.
His kicking's terrible away from home. Prima Optus, he doesn't miss.
Yeah.
But away from home, he's terrible for some reason. Yeah.
He was much better, obviously, this past weekend than
He
the
was.
prior week. He kind of redeemed himself. And Liam Ryan, woo, love that guy.
He's going well.
Amazing. And he's playing a slightly different role now, which is kind of fun to watch him in the midfield. So,
Yep.
yeah. All right. Are you agreeing with me? Is this
Absolutely, of course. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Melbourne versus Sydney Swans at the MCG at 3:20 on Sunday, the 25th. So Melbourne got the better of Brisbane. What does that result tell you about either of these teams?
Melbourne are the sleeping giants.
Really?
Mark
Really?
my words. They are the sleeping giant.
Okay.
No one's talking about them.
Yeah.
And
Probably for a
they're
reason.
going under the radar. Yes, no, 100%. But you know what? It's happened a lot in the past few years where teams just, about this time of the year to start to rise and put themselves in contention. So don't be surprised if Melbourne make the 8 and do some damage.
Okay. So
Because their best players are back. Kozzy Pickett's starring.
Yeah,
Max
he's
Gawn's
good.
starring. Petrarca's starring. Oliver's finally got his head screwed on right. And
well,
he's
all
actually
right.
a tagger rather
they had
than...
a good game. Those two had a good game. We'll see if they can have another
Well, they had a
good
good game last week too.
It's I don't think they're 100% back, but
right.
so Sydney only have 2 players apparently.
Correct.
This is your
Correct.
talking point,
Correct.
right?
That's my thesis.
This is your
I'm happy to write a
thesis.
thesis on it.
But apparently Carlton only have 2 players too, Wiedering
That's right.
and who was the other one?
Tom de Koning.
Oh yeah, and DeConing, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
And one was out, so Sydney win. Yeah, it makes sense. Why did I pick Carlton for? That's stupid of me.
All right, I was going to ask about depth, but apparently neither of these teams have depth because there's only two players on these teams.
Depth.
All right.
Depth.
So that's-
These two teams, Carlton and Sydney, go and fish in the lake. That's like that. There is no depth. They don't go fishing in the ocean.
I guess the reason Sydney won is because at least the 2 players on that team kick goals,
Played.
and the 2
And were
players on
best
your
on
team
ground.
are the
Yep.
defense in the center. They don't kick goals, right? Okay. So,
Simple game football, Cindy. Simple game.
So I don't even know what to say about this. Who loses and why?
Who loses
I just
and
want
why?
to get to it.
Sydney lose because they've got 2 players and Melbourne's got 3. Simple maths.
That's it. Well,
That's it. What do you want me to say?
So I'm going to go out on a limb here, and I'm going to say Melbourne can't do it again. Melbourne lose this week. I think
You know they're playing in Melbourne, right?
I know, but Sydney actually like playing at the MCG. So,
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Oh, how'd they go on grand final day?
Well, that was an outlier for sure. But
Okay.
not to mention, I think Mills is coming back and Adams is coming back, and that
Whoop-de-doo.
will be
Whoop-de-doo.
it's a big deal for them getting some of their
All right.
star
We'll
players
see
back.
who's right and who's wrong. And
right.
Ricky Stanicki
Yeah, Ricky.
in the comments.
Ricky.
We'll see this
Ricky?
week, all right? If you're 2 players, we'll see.
So look, so right now I think there's 4 games difference. So you could even up the the tally
yeah.
here.
Or I could just be blown out of the water.
You could, but we'll see what happens. All right, the last game of the round is St. Kilda.
That's what they deserve.
Against Gold Coast at Marvel, 4:40 on Sunday. This could be a messy one. I don't know. I think.
What do you mean could be? It already is. Just you saying it, you couldn't even say it properly, number one.
Yeah.
That just goes to show the I hate them both. I hate them both. I hate St Kilda and Gold Coast. It's like spiders crawling on me.
All right, so St. Kilda won the clearances, but they still lost field position all night. Okay. Was their biggest flaw like how they transitioned the ball after winning it, or was it West Coast pressure was just too relentless? Did you even watch the game? Did you watch that game?
I watched a bit of it because we were actually filming at the time.
Why am I talking to you then? What?
I watched a bit of it and I watched highlights, so I know what happened. Like I know enough. But West Coast over there, in Perth, are a different team, right?
Yeah.
Like their pressure's fantastic over there. Obviously, they've got the crowd behind them, so they, rise to the occasion.
Okay.
And funnily enough, that's St Kilda's number one, or their one wood, right? Their pressure.
Right.
and they haven't bought it since they beat, who was it? It was about 4 weeks ago now. They had that great win. I just don't know. I'm sick of St Kilda. I was on 4 weeks ago.
Now you're over
so
it,
far
right?
off. You won't be seeing me wearing a St Kilda jersey.
All right. Well, and we already talked about the Suns and the Hawks, so I think we can skip straight to who loses and why.
All right. Everything I said about St Kilda.
Uh-huh.
I don't trust the Suns either.
I thought you got over these trust issues.
No.
Why do they keep coming back?
No. No, because, okay, so the Suns have been in the league for 13 years. Everyone says this is a year, this is a year. Not this particular year. Every year they say they're going to make finals.
Yeah.
And at about this time, about round 12, 13, 14, they start to, dip.
Okay.
And it's happened every year since. So until that changes, I don't trust them.
So 2 more weeks and then we find out, or 3 more weeks and then we find out whether you trust them?
Yeah, we'll find out if they're playing finals or not. Yes. Having said that, St Kilda are that bad. I think they lose.
They lose. Well, I agree with you. St Kilda are going to lose. The Gold Coast forward pressure is going to punish the Saints' sloppy exits. So there you have it. Those were our most interesting comments, questions, and concerns for the week. Thank you all for being here with us. I hope to see you on Friday or Saturday, your time at noon in Melbourne for the Carlton GWS game. I hope I'm not crying.
Blockbuster.
And I hope you have a great week. I hope you have a great weekend, and I hope your team wins.